Okay, today we are taking a look at a requested topic. This is one I had to do a little research on. Um, it is the Great Reset. So, at first, because I'd heard this term before, right? And at first, I really thought that it was like just a conspiracy, like a right wing conspiracy theory. But I looked into this a little bit, and it isn't. It's like an actual real thing. And some world leaders, at least, have been like, yeah, this is the way that we want to do things moving forward. Now, I did a bunch of research. I haven't been able to find really any consistent information on this, but it is, from what I can tell, it's like a group of theoretical regulations that would be mostly aimed toward environmental things as far as how government policies would work or fucking whatever. I really don't know. But supposedly it has an environmental message at its core, but the Great Reset would be about governments changing the way that they do things, and it is somehow tied to, like economic stimulus and also COVID. So they're using the whole COVID disruption to the economy to try to push the Great Reset forward. Now, we're going to look at a couple things here. And at first, the first thing I want to look at is this a thing that's going to gain any traction? Or is it a thing we don't even have to fucking talk about because it's never going to be a thing? Random number ice pick, random word ice pick, random number 25. All right. So first we're looking at, is it a thing? Huh. An ace of cups at the root. Is it a thing? Fascinating. So we get a reverse 10 of Pentacles. The 10 of Pentacles itself is inheritance. So this is what is passed to us from previous generations and what we leave for future generations. It's like inherited wealth, inherited knowledge. It's what we get from the people that were here before us, and also what we leave. And it is like general stability, too. So, we get a reverse 10 of Pentacles, which is a disruption to the inheritance. So, this is like not receiving shit from the people who were there before you and not having shit to leave to the people who are there afterwards. With a root card of the Ace of Cups. Now, the Ace of Cups is about emotional fulfillment. The Ace of Cups says, today can be good. And it's just like accepting the fact that today can be good. Now, all right. So, is this thing going to gain traction? And what we get is a reverse 10 of Pentacles. I would assume that this would say, yes, it will gain traction and it will cause it will cause empires to collapse. That's kind of what I'm seeing here, you know. Now I'm just going to find out a little more about this because it's potentially really powerful. So let's just see what leads up and where it goes. What leads up is another ace. It's the Ace of Swords. Where it goes is the Two of Pentacles. So the Ace of Swords is about taking control. The Ace of Swords is when you are the victim of nothing. And you take full responsibility and therefore have full control of the things that happen moving forward. Now, this could be about people taking personal responsibility, since this, theoretically, this is environmental stuff, you know, at least that's how they're presenting it. So the Ace of Swords could be about people taking responsibility for their actions, which in turn would cause kind of a collapse of a lot of these things that are very stable, you know, and this might be rich families and that end up not being rich anymore. I don't understand how that could work, but following the trail of the cards. And then as this moves forward, then we have the Two of Pentacles, which is movement. Well, here it goes from a 10 to a 2. So this goes from something that is very stable to something that is like fresh and new and like moving. But the Two of Pentacles also shows two different things that are kind of being rotated back and forth. But here, this looks like it would be good for personal responsibility, but bad maybe for economic stability, at least as far as giant structures go. And as someone who isn't rich, I would say that's fine. Okay. Now, these two aces that show up on a personal level, these things are pretty strong. And they're both really positive. Now, this looks like this will probably gain some traction. That's what I would pull out of this. So now what I want to look at is, are the intentions behind this pure? Or if this is like, you know, if you want to pollute, then you have to pay some money, you know, and you have to pay that money to me, right? In the name of environmental justice or whatever, you know, give me all your money. Let's just see if the intention behind this is, and it's tough to say because this is kind of a group of people, so some intentions might be pure and some intentions might not. But let's just see overall if the intent behind the Great Reset is a pure one, or if it is just about, you know, fucking manipulation and gaining in power. I think it's right on the top. And the Temperance card says it is both. It is both pure and impure. In the Temperance card, so here the angel is like blending these two things, right? And because of the question I asked, I'm going to take that as pure and impure, like manipulation and like really trying to do the right thing. But this is a combination of both. They are blended together so much that they're one thing now. So, I mean, that's good, I suppose, because it's not purely ill intent. There's good intent in there. But it has become a different thing because purity and corruption have been blended so completely. The interesting thing, the Temperance card is also about patience. It's about patience and understanding. So, the other thing that I would say about this energy is that it's probably in no fucking huge rush. This might be a process that takes a long time. Now, what we can do, although it might be here already, what we can do is take a look and see the effect, the actual effect that this has. I'm going to gather these cards just so we have um, the whole dictionary to work with, so to speak. But let's see the actual effect that this movement will have on, first, the environment, and I'm not even going to say economy. I'm going to say the effect on people's lives, because world economy is some stupid shit that I don't understand, and that shit is going to if the world economy is really good, that doesn't necessarily mean the lives of any of the people in the world is any good, you know? Those are not necessarily connected. So, first, environment. The Great Reset, this movement, what is the long-term effect that it has on the environment? And the card that wants to come out is another fucking ace. So, the Ace of Pentacles. Fascinating. The Ace of Pentacles, so here the dragon is holding this pentacle. And this pentacle, it contains the universe of creation. It's all of the potential that the dragon could create. And the dragon here is the master of taking these ideas and turning them into reality. So it's funny because normally the Ace of Pentacles is the card that shows up for people who start their own business or something like that, taking the ideas and turning them into reality. But as far as the context of the question, which is how will this long-term affect the environment, I think the Ace of Pentacles is a great card because it shows all of this potential and a lot of these ideas that would start to become real. It's definitely not a negative card. It's like a whole new universe here that would start to show up. Or it's a portal for the aliens to come through, which could happen as well. All right, so I think this looks surprisingly good. And it's another ace. So we have 3 of the 4 so far. And let's just take a look at how this would look for the lives of people. Because maybe the environment recovers because all the people are dead. Let's see. That is also on the top. And what we get is the 4 of Cups. So the 4 of Cups just shows boredom. And kind of being stuck. Not really, though. In the 4, they're not really stuck. So they want to be on the ship doing something fun. Interesting. Now that I'm looking at this, I'm thinking that with all of the travel restrictions and all that horse shit that's happening now, this might show more travel restrictions because the person really wants to be on the ship going somewhere, but they're not getting on the ship. They're just sitting in the tower and they're being sad. And the tower isn't that bad. They got all this wine and shit, but they're like throwing it over the side because they're like, oh, this sucks. Like, whatever. Now, normally, this person has the key to get out right here. And that's the key that they could use to get out of the tower and get on the ship and have an adventure. But they're not using it. They're just like being sad. So this would show emotional stagnation and sadness generally. But I also feel like this would show more travel restrictions and how people would kind of be stuck in the same place. It would be interesting. I mean, I don't exactly know how that would show up other than the fact that these fucking things are happening now because of COVID. But I don't know how the environmental policies would make this happen, but maybe. I mean, maybe they'll like ban airplanes or something because they shoot gases into the air. And maybe we'll all have to ride on Viking ships everywhere we go, and we'll have to oar them. We'll have to row them with oars. All right, so that's what we get. If you have any questions about this, feel free to leave them in the comments. And if you have any requests on topics, also feel free to leave them in the comments. And peace.